So, do you want to understand why 300,000 black women in the United States are out of the workforce and looking for jobs? If you do, then look no further. I'll give you an example. People don't understand this, unfortunately, but when it comes to working somewhere, out of 100%, I would say 20% is actually doing the job. 80% is workplace culture. How well can you get along with your coworkers, with customers, etc.? This was something that had to be overlooked because there were ESG inspired DEI hiring practices that made you hire people to meet diversity quotas instead of hiring the best people for the job and the best people to work in these positions with others. A lot of people have been held hostage because they couldn't fire these people because having a lower diversity quota would lower your ESG score so your company wouldn't qualify for loans. That's how they were forcing people in these companies to do things that were against their best interests, opening them up for accusations of rape and other, and being accused of other things like being racist. That's the risk you take when you have DEI hires. Because if it's not based on your character and your merit, people that are lower IQ are going to always say it's nothing to do with my character. It's nothing to do with my work ethic. It's everything to do with how I look. But how you look is why you were hired in the first place. Let's watch this video so we can further understand why most workplaces are saying no more. You guys are fired. We're not working with you. You go work with each other, go build your own communities, start your own businesses, but we don't want to deal with you anymore. This is why.
Hello, sir. I'm Officer Dasa. This is Officer Train.
Okay.
You know what we're here.
We're here because of something that happened on the bus.
I asked the lady to turn her phone off.
Yeah. So she has been recording a battery incident on the bus.
What it was the
So
battery?
that's what we do for.
I asked her to turn her phone off.
Just so you know, we have other witnesses from other airlines too.
Okay.
I just want to hear your version of this.
So I was in the bus shelter. She's screaming on the phone, and I said, "Can you turn your phone off?"
Mm-hmm.
She calls me a racist
Mm-hmm.
over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
She flips me up with her finger.
Mm-hmm.
She tells me to go myself. And I said, all we need is quiet in the shelter. We need quiet on the bus.
He's expecting good etiquette. I don't know why. They do not come with good etiquette. They treat police officers the exact same way. Everything he said he endured, I watched thousands of hours of police body cam footage. They endure the exact same. So, of course, he's not lying at all. And this is what companies have been dealing with for the past several years, ever since they implemented the ESG scores and Biden and all that bullshit. And I'm so glad it's over. Holding people hostage by forcing them into uncomfortable situations with people that are extremely difficult to work with and unpleasant, it's just not fair. And it brings down morale. But listen to, we'll continue.
Mm-hmm.
We're going here. We go into the terminal. I find her coworkers coming down, and they give me her boss's information
Mm-hmm.
because I want to send a thing. We don't scream on the bus. We don't do anything. And
Well, apparently this happened. This started before the bus, and then during the bus.
it started in the shelter,
Uh-huh.
then on the bus,
Mm-hmm.
and then coming to work.
Okay.
So I followed her down towards the Marriott. Her coworkers coming this way. 3 of them stopped and said, "Oh, this is our boss's number."
Mm-hmm.
I have the boss's.
Mm-hmm.
I took a screenshot
Mm-hmm.
of the boss, and I said, "We don't need to yell on the bus. Everybody can have earphones. Everybody can be texting. You're screaming." I said, "Don't scream." I did turn around and put my hand on her shoulder, and I said, "Can you please stop?" And that was the only time I touched her.
did you, so after you guys exchange words, you reach over, grab her badge, and take a picture of it?
I don't think I took a picture of her badge. No.
I have American Airlines witnesses. It's been a little bit different on your story.
Okay.
You did touch her shoulder. That's what it said.
I did touch her shoulder on the bus.
He touched her shoulder on the bus. Now you can tell he's gay. He's not a pilot. He's a flight attendant. So obviously he might have an attitude problem, but he's not aggressive. He's not fighting. But in his mind, he's feminine. To tap someone on a woman on the shoulder, he sees himself kind of as a woman. She's a woman. He touched her shoulder. He didn't punch her, didn't hit her. Nothing aggressive or violent. She wasn't hurt. But because he's white and she's black and he touched her, apparently now that's a crime against humanity. Imagine what it must be like working in an office with people this volatile and so quick to make accusations against you simply because you're white. This is the fear of companies. This is the fear of employees. And that's why when they started doing all these layoffs, when everybody's making videos saying, oh, they're laying off certain, you can't shame people into liking you anymore. You can't shame people into being forced to deal with you anymore. You burnt the hell out of that bridge. I'm talking about took one of Elon Musk's flamethrowers to it.
And then she told you to don't touch me.
She said, "Hi, babe." She started screaming, and I said, "Nobody needs to
It's
hear."
technically a battery, just so you know. When you touch or strike somebody.
So the cops that showed up, neither one of them are white. So they're liberal, and they're also likely DEI hires. Him being white, even though he's gay, you're still not an ally. You think you're one of them. You think you're, but their whole thing is just against you. They're liberals. You can't be a white man, and they don't care if you're gay or not. They hate any white males. Period. That's their doctrine. And even though they're going to arrest him right now.
I didn't
Without their
strike.
permission. That's
Okay.
telling you how the floor sat to read.
Okay.
The way if you wouldn't even touched her, we just would have left it at her.
I did.
The fact that you did.
I did, and I touched her shoulder.
You know, sometimes you tap people. You guys are humans. It's how we interact with each other. That's like saying a handshake is considered an aggressive because you didn't get written permission. So I mean they're being extremely literal. And I guess this is after they released him from the cuffs because they're now going back to the elevator.
We stopped on the bus.
I did. Apparently, the whole situation caused her a lot of distress. She was crying when we got there.
So she made it. Like,
Yeah, she's making a big deal about it because she wants to sue so she can get a get rich quick scheme. She's going to claim she was assaulted. She's going to claim it was based on race. She's going to claim that she was a victim of oppression. She's going to say that Chicken George and Kizzy Kente tied her up and Massa came out and he whooped her and he whoops his goods. And it's all just the same. There's nothing new. It's all the same BS. But there is no, this whole integration thing, this whole coexistence, it's not real. It doesn't work. And now what you're seeing is separation. And that's all this calls for. There was no other option. People literally tried for 2 or 3 generations to merge, but certain cultures cannot mix with each other. Black culture and American culture are diametrically opposed. They just are. They don't meld well. All these years after integration, and there's still separation. The two societies cannot coexist on top of one another. That's why there's so much conflict and there's so many problems, because you're trying to force something that's unnatural. And people don't want to hear that, but look around. The only solution that people are now, without even talking to you about it or asking for your permission, people are now just separating and they're saying, I'm not hiring them anymore. They're fired. We're going to do our own thing over here. We're going to start our own communities. You guys go live wherever you want. You guys take over these cities. You can have them. We're going to go live over here. You just don't come over here. And you really can't even be mad at them at this point. Not anymore.
Yeah, she was the one.
Okay.
You know what we're here.
Yeah, I don't. We're here because of something that happened on the bus.
I was in the bus shelter. She's screaming on the phone, and I said, "Can you turn your phone off?"
Mm-hmm.
She calls me a racist.
Now, even though he was arrested for this, the charges were dropped and immediately thrown out. So he was just basically arrested and embarrassed for nothing. The fact that the cops that showed up were, I guess, people of color as well, and they were more than happy to arrest him because he's white. Had this been a black person who touched her, they would have sat there and argued with him and got insulted and they wouldn't have arrested him. Nothing would have happened to him. But they see white people as being compliant. So it makes them easy, soft targets. And that's a problem. You know, they're specifically going after them based on their race. That's literally the definition of discrimination. So the smart thing which is what they're doing now is they're just separating. They're separating, starting their own separate society, which is pretty much the only option left. I mean, we've given up our big cities over to illegal immigration. You feel like you're not even in America anymore. You go to some of these places, depending on what part of the country you're in, you're going to hear a different language, and that's not America. That's the third world. If we want to hear people speak Somali, we'll move to Somalia. If you want to hear everybody around you speak Spanish, then move to a Spanish country. If you want to hear Chinese, move to China. The United States is where you're supposed to be able to hear things in English. I shouldn't have to press 2 or press 1 for English. So again, bringing everyone here, it's already creating 2 distinct separate society. You have a constitutional republic. You have a multicultural democracy. I do not want to live in your multicultural democracy. I understand why they're out, and I'm out too. I'm not living anywhere near you people anyway because it's dangerous. This innocent, poor guy is now probably going to get fired and have to go to court over nonsense. That if he had just avoided this person or not thought this person was an equal that he can have a civilized conversation with, if he would have just understood this person was dangerous, he would have stayed to himself. You can tap somebody on the shoulder. He didn't hit her. You can shake somebody's hand. You can tap somebody and say, "Excuse me." That's not battery. That's ridiculous. But let me know what you agree or not. Put it in the comments. I appreciate hearing from you all. But this is something that is now spreading, and this is why 300,000 black women have been laid off. People don't want to work with you anymore. They can't. Too dangerous. You're going to accuse them of racism anyway, so why even bother hiring you? You're going to quit and sue in 6 months, so now the time and money I wasted on training you is going to go belly up. People just don't want to do it anymore. It just doesn't make any sense. So like, subscribe, share the video. Let me know if you agree or disagree. If you have a counter argument and you think somebody tapping you on the shoulder and saying, "Excuse me," or whatever, if you think that's assault and you could die from that shoulder tap, let me know in the comments. I want to hear what you think. You know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, maybe people got sensitive shoulders. I don't know. Maybe you have a loose tendon in your neck. We'll see. But I understand why certain people are being laid off and not rehired. I completely understand. So this is just another example. I'll be back shortly. And remember, America first, America only.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.